Welcome to this week's edition of the Gridiron, sponsored by Patriot Chevrolet. I'm your host, John Brennan, with head coach Chad Brubaker. Springford fell in heartbreaking manner to Pope John Paul, 28-27 in the PAC championship. Coach, I know this is a tough one. Been there as coach in basketball, losing that PAC championship. Before we get in the game, we're kind of in the middle of the week here. How's the team doing? Friday night was obviously tough for everybody involved with it, and how's the week been going so far?
We had a good practice yesterday, Tuesday. You got to put that stuff behind you. I mean, it's hard to do. I'll give you, for instance, it's hard. Sometimes coaches probably take it worse than kids. Kids are young. They move on. Girlfriend breaks up with them. They're on to the next one kind of thing.
Yeah.
But, we struggle because we put so much time into it. And the kids do too. But, we're spending 8, 9, 10 hours in here on a Sunday. And so what I did, and this was scheduled, but I went up to Penn State. My wife and I, she's like, it's been 8 years we've been together. You've never taken me to Penn State game.
Wait, I've been we've been 14 years, and I've never been to Penn State. But
you've never asked.
Okay.
She has.
Okay, there we go. Keep going.
So we had it all planned to go up to Penn State, and the great thing was I saw some former players there. So, Ryan Engro, Blaise Scarcelli, James Albert, B.J. Beard, Joe Morgan, to name a few. And that all puts it into perspective for me.
Yeah.
Because, Friday night wasn't how we wanted it to go. Kind of dejected about that, missed opportunities. And but that kind of pulls it all back together for why we do what we do. Yes, football is the vessel, but really what we're here for is kids. And seeing all those guys, at various stages of their college or even out of college, there's a couple guys, so is great.
Yeah.
And that just kind of pulls it all back together. It pulled it back together for me.
Teaching the whole thing. You see kids after where they remember
Sure.
something about their experience. Yeah, that's a good way of saying it.
And you might have had a bad interaction, which would be equivalent to maybe losing a game, and that kid's like, "Hey, I was, a jerk about that," or maybe you would say that too.
Yeah, no, I'm totally the jerk. I get that. All right, so I think what everybody wants to talk about is the end of the game. It was back and forth, and they go on that big run, and they go 21-14. We answer, get another score. They run. Next time they get the ball, it's almost like they run the exact same play, score again, but similar concept. They run
same result. Wasn't the same play.
Two big plays, I guess, is what I'm trying to get with them with the run, and then we work our way down the field, and we get the tying touchdown. And talk us through that, because initially we see you going one, the kicking team's on their way out. PJP calls timeout. Obviously something changed, and we decide to go for two. We go for the win. Talk us through that end of the game. I'm sure everybody out there wants to know what you're thinking. You don't have to tell about what play you called, but what went wrong, because I think everybody that watched it saw from the beginning it was off from the beginning.
So, we can. Where are we going to start? You want to start there?
Go back to when you said let's go for one, and then you change your mind.
So they called a timeout. We intended to go for one initially. They called a timeout, and I took the opportunity during the timeout to talk to some of our coaching staff. Like they had just run 2 plays for 95 yards. Yeah. Consecutive plays on different drives. And, the high school rules are you start at the 10-yard line. That's the rules, whatever. Like, it would be nice. It would change a lot of strategy.
If you started from the 25.
Nah, I don't think that's good for high school, but at least the 15.
Okay.
Because then you're forced to get
a first down.
You're forced to get a first down and make a decision. Like, if you don't get that first down, you're going to go for it on 4th and 1, or you're going to kick the field goal. It would just be nice, but that's aside from all this. So, we had just talked about, they just ran 2 plays for 95 yards. We had guys in position on both of those plays. We didn't make tackles for whatever reason. We weren't it was disappointing. Those 2 plays were extremely disappointing, especially the first one. The second one, someone asked me if we let them score, and I'm like, did it look that bad? But it was bad.
Yeah,
it was bad.
I got what you're saying, yep.
Back end of our secondary, linebackers didn't make plays. On the first one, we missed a tackle, at the line of scrimmage.
Don't take away from all of our defense segment here too. Coming up.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. But you brought it up, so that was our thinking. I always, I do ask the coaching staff, like, am I way out of bounds? And listen, we have not been successful in 2-point plays to win games.
Yeah.
Going back to 2016, Wilson, although we were successful in that one, just didn't get called that way. Last year against Perkins Valley.
Yep.
So, when the ball starts on the 10-yard line and you have an opportunity to just, in overtime, and you have an opportunity to just win it right now, we've had guys that I'll put faith in every time.
Yeah.
The problem with those three that
all right, keep going.
The problem with those three that I mentioned is that our execution on those 3 plays, 2016, last year, and last weekend, was not good on any of them. And they were plays that we practiced the previous week and were pretty set on, this is, what we're going to get, this is how we line up. And for whatever reason, our kids have struggled executing those plays in those situations. Here's the thing. If it comes up Friday night, probably going to do it again. And because at the end of the day, despite those things, I trust our kids. And I hate the overtime rules. And it's hard to stop somebody on the 10-yard line going in. And so, it was disappointing. Like, we were trying to run counter boot. We had some linemen, one lineman that was like not on assignment, and we the tailback went the wrong way initially, which took everybody to the side we were trying to boot to. And we didn't have the one receiver in the spot that he was supposed to be in. There's supposed to be a receiver at the back pylon. And if that's, if what happens, there's a jailbreak, and that's what Matt was trying to do, is throw it up to that pylon, we still have a shot.
Yeah.
So, it's disappointing. The outcome's disappointing. The play execution is disappointing. We've practiced that we have a 2-point period. I mean, we always have a goal line period during the week, but now I changed it up a little bit. It's a 2-point period, and it's best against best, and let's see what happens.
Well, you answered a couple of things. You said it sounds like the coaching staff was all on board with going for the 2.
The ones I talked to, I think everybody was pretty much on board.
You talked about the idea that you did have plays, like I said, it's not, we weren't running something we've never done.
Oh, no.
Right, that's what I'm saying. You have a list of things.
We ran that in practice at least twice last week in a goal line situation, and executed it well. I kind of wanted Matt to have a run-pass option, or a pass-run option, really, on the perimeter. And then we just, we didn't block it correctly, so there was kind of almost a free release, and Matt had to get rid of it.
So as you're finishing up here, I felt like I've heard, did you ever think something was wrong? Let's call timeout. We're not right. Once again, retrospect, go back and be like, timeout's in your pocket.
No, I mean, that's one.
When you went out there and you saw them line up, you're like, okay.
No, we lined up fine.
Yeah.
We lined up fine. And when I initially talked to Matt, we were going to run it the other way. And then I said to him, flip it, because I wanted him to go to a strong side, his right. And I saw him talk to everybody after that. But yeah, I don't know, the moment, things happen in the moment. Now the question about the timeout, everybody was lined up right. I didn't want to give them an opportunity to line up, like they see something. But obviously in hindsight, if you could see that it wasn't going to be successful, we could have called timeout. We just wanted to go. We had, like I said, we practiced it. We were ready to roll. I thought. So it's one of those things, like the pendulum there has got to swing the other way in terms of, hey guys, just execute what we asked you to execute, and we're going to be fine. Those things, happen. There's like a million things going on all at once, and we're working to correct it.
And I felt like it was a game early. You kind of had some success running the ball that first drive, and then almost PJP kind of said, all right, we're going to load up and can you win passing against us? And we did. We struggled at times throwing the ball a little bit, too, on Friday night.
What happened was they came out in their normal defense, and we were gashing them. And it didn't take them long to make a decision, which was we're going to play press coverage, and we're just going to storm the castle. And, they're going to see if we can get rid of the ball before they arrive, basically. And, here's the other thing. Were we switching into offense now?
Yeah, we're
okay. Yeah. So there's the other thing. We had 6 drops on Friday night. Yeah. 6 drops. And those drops were huge. Yeah. We misjudged a couple balls. That's going to happen, But there were, and I would count one of the misjudges as a drop. But so then there's 5 other drops. The one misjudge is that we make the play all the time, all day, every day. So we got down inside their 30-yard line, probably their 25 twice.
Yeah, and got nothing.
And kind of sputtered. But it was basically a race to we're going to bring more than you can block, and your receivers better get open right now, and Matt better make a good throw under pressure. So that was smart. Now, again, any of those that we hit in the first half makes them question. We missed Mason Scott on a long one. We missed Bilal Abdulrahman. He misjudged it. And that's going to happen. It's not any criticism on Bilal, but Bilal makes that play 99 times out of 100.
Yeah.
And so if he makes that play and we're up 14-0, 7-0, they better they better change. To their credit, listen, and this is not taking anything away from them. They did a tremendous job. And you saw what was happening then at the end. We started breaking it. We started saying, all right, here we go.
Yeah.
But it was too late. We needed to make some of those plays in the first half. We didn't make any of those plays in the first half that would have really made them question, is this the strategy we want to go with?
Yeah.
So
because once again, I was at the home games, and I felt like a lot of teams would just kind of rush for and try and cover. They were like the opposite. They were like, we're going to send as many as you can and try and quick guard you a little bit in that man defense. And like I said, it was the most pressure I've seen Matt under, all year long too. And
they did a good job of staying in their lanes too. The outside linebackers were coming a lot, and they did a good job of staying in their lanes.
Not letting him get outside.
Containing the pocket better than other people that we played have done. And, Matt did step up in the pocket and hit Mason Scott over the top for a 74-yard touchdown, whatever. We needed one of those in the first half to just really make them question, what they're doing, and we just didn't get it.
Yeah, like I said, because after that first drive, you really had nothing going in the ground game for the majority of the night.
We snuck a couple in, we were giving them different looks, we were coming, motioning a tight end in and sealing the edge, and so what we did then, and running that side, so what we did is we did that and then went the other way, and the kid that we were coming down to seal, was going the other way, so we didn't have to worry about him and taking him out of the play. So we ran a couple plays in the second half, Matt had a quarterback counter and Jamal had a nice run on a counter in the second half. But, when they're doing that, when they're playing 7 guys in the box and just boom, it's also hard to run the ball.
Yeah. And I hadn't heard of the way you described it there. It kind of gave me a little perspective. If we just make a couple plays in the first half, and I hadn't really thought, they're okay, well, they're not making plays. Let's stick with what we're doing. And I got what you're saying. I hadn't thought of those. So
those are little things. And again, we had guys. We dropped a couple balls, and in the second half we made some great catches that changed that. But we needed that in the first half. And especially, if we get up 7-0 or 14-0, and again, make them question, hey, I don't know if we should stay in this defense. Let's back off a little bit. It helps with the running game.
Yeah, and I'm sure you go in the halftime, it's tied. You're okay, it's a 1-half game, go win the second half, that sort of thing. And they got the ball to start the second.
Yeah, they got the ball to start the second half. So once again,
that takes the thing. All right, Coach. Appreciate the perspective. Appreciate the honesty with everything. Let's take a look at the offensive highlights from Springford, Pope John Paul.
Offensive highlights are brought to you by Dimitri's Pizza.
Yeah, so this is the one play maybe that we needed in the first half. And you see they kept Matt in the pocket. Mason just goes over the top on a hash route and scores from 74 out. And watch, you'll see
and you get
there.
Lewis to help pick up here.
Right. And the one thing that they did really well, they only rushed 4 there, but they still got a little pressure. The other thing they do is they give you perceived pressure, which did screw with our pass protection at times.
This is after they score. You come here with the kickoff return.
Yeah, this is in the first half. Mason Scott, great double team there by Ryan Kirchner and Nick Garzarella, and Mason Scott goes down the sideline for a touchdown.
Stayed in bounds.
He may have stepped out of bounds.
Oh, all right. Do we see it in this copy?
Yeah. He may have stepped out of bounds at the exact moment that the referee ran into me, which got me a 15-yard penalty.
Oh, this is why that's why. Okay.
Yeah. So
we never saw the signal, but
I'll take the 15-yard penalty. I didn't try it, but I'll take it if we get the touchdown. This was a nice job. Again, watch this catch by Jordan Marsilio.
And he was interfered with, I think,
oh, yeah,
on the
he
play
was.
too.
Yeah. Great job. We were trying to get Mason Scott on a full motion, fast motion release, and the corner backed way off, as I would have too. There you see the motion inside. Kirch missed, but it did affect the play. This was on the first drive, and we got down inside the 20, and
then you had a negative play. I felt like after that.
Yeah, we tried to run quarterback counter, and they just stormed the castle, and we missed the kick out. This was the last play of the game.
That's a touchdown.
That's a touchdown to Bilal Abdulrahman. They're bringing pressure here. Again, they only brought 5, but it did screw with their pass protection.
This is the touchdown before that. Yeah,
touchdown before that to
21-21 essentially. Yeah. Another good ball right here, where only your guys are going to catch
throw.
it.
Yeah, great throw. So the perceived pressure messed with us a couple times in terms of like you talked about it on last week's show, that outside linebacker playing up on the line of scrimmage, and then you have someone head up on the tackle, and then you have the nose, and you have the linebacker, and if you fan it, which is both the guard and the tackle come out, that linebacker can come. If he shows pressure initially and, our guys stick on, then the outside linebacker comes free. We just had a couple things where we didn't communicate as well as we could have.
Yeah, so like you said here, it's tough to come back from these types of losses and regroup and get yourself ready to go, but you still got a lot of things to play for the rest of the way here too. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's tough because like I've said before, the crossover, and again, all credit to them they played a great game and had a great game plan. But it's really hard. It's really hard in terms of the crossovers and the history of crossover. It's the first time small school Division I, but it oftentimes feels like it's like a lose-lose. Like if we don't win 48-0, like everybody's like,
yeah.
Like if we won 29-28, we still kind of, I got
what you're saying. Yeah.
Championship, and it's a tough one. But again, not to take anything away from them, they played great and had a really good game plan.
All right, Coach, we got to take a break here, all right?
All right.
We're going to take a quick commercial break here, and we're back with the defensive highlights and a preview of North Penn in the District 1 playoffs.
The family's visit to the forest inspired a beautiful question. Mother, mother, am I a tree? You tell me to stand tall. You tell me to stay rooted. I think I am a tree. My child, of course you are. But what kind of tree will you be? The kind to hug or the kind to climb? Doesn't matter what you choose, so long as you choose to be a tree that's kind.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you. Find one at discovertheforest.org.
I'm Jenny Garth, and as a mother of 3, I know kids worry about a lot of things. Getting enough food to eat shouldn't be one of them. But here in America, that is a real worry for 1 in 5 children. This is unacceptable, and something Feeding America is working to solve. Through a nationwide network of food banks, Feeding America serves virtually every community in the United States, including yours. See how you can help your community. Visit feedingamerica.org. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
Welcome back to the Gridiron, sponsored by Patriot Chevrolet. I'm your host, John Brown, with head coach Chad Brubaker. All right, Coach, we missed it by a day last week. We were a little too early for filming, but big news out of the Pioneer Athletic Conference in Chesmont. We usually, this is our announcement segment, so now you get an opportunity to talk about it. I know you kind of had some insight about it, couldn't share out there, but now we've entered an agreement with the Chesmont. We're going to play 2 schools from the Chesmont now for how many years is it's just
I don't know what the agreement total number of years is.
But now the whole Pioneer Athletic Conference is going to, all 12 are going to play 2 weeks essentially against Chesmont teams for 2 weeks of the season moving forward.
Games 3 and 4.
Games 3 and 4. So talk about the agreement, how to come about, and, like your quick thoughts on it.
Well, the first thing, I didn't realize that it was going to take place starting next year, so I had to make some uncomfortable emails.
Phone calls, yeah.
I did email
to some of these schools.
And then someone called me, but to Manheim Township in Cumberland Valley, because, I didn't like how that went down. I kind of thought it was out a little bit. So how it works is like it's kind of seeded. It's seeded. There's a formula. It's seeded and there's enrollment. Are we talking about things that are positive and things that are negative?
Listen, it's the show here. You can share whatever you want to share. You think about it.
Well, I don't understand enrollment because it's classification, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't know why
5A teams, 6A teams, 4A teams, so
yeah.
forth. So.
Now I haven't seen the final schedule for next year. It's actually supposed to come out today, so we'll have it next week. But I do know this: we will play Downingtown East and Downingtown West in games 3 and 4 next year.
One will be home, one will be away.
Actually, there's an issue with Downingtown because we're playing those 2 teams.
Because they have to host one too.
Yeah. So
East and West play at the same stadium.
So I think next year we're going to have 2 home games, and then the following we'll have 2 away games.
Okay.
But both on Friday night. Regardless, the one thing that I don't understand and about it all is like why it's seeded. Like if it is seeded, then 1 should play 1 and 4, 2 should play 2 and 5, 3 and 6. Like it kind of sets up some nonsense to me. Like there's a bye because Chesmont has 13 teams, so you're making this whole formula, and then like for some reason the 3rd seed gets a bye. Like in the Chesmont. So that means the 3rd seed in our division gets to schedule their own team. I don't know why 3rd. Like I don't know why 3rd.
It's above our pay grade. I don't know.
What's special about 3rd?
Yeah.
And then the other thing that I don't understand is like Bishop Shanahan, what I heard, Bishop Shanahan did not want to be a part of it. And they were like, no. Like you can play Pope John Paul. Well, okay, we have this whole formula, but then if somebody balks at it, then we change the formula.
Yeah.
Like, so those are some things I don't understand. I got to get more information about it, but I just don't understand why what this year has to do with next year, and what this year has to do with 2 years from now. Mm-hmm. Like it should be equitable. Like if the Big Ten has 2 divisions, right?
Yep.
Which essentially is what this is, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
They don't say like, "Oh, you're not going to."
Michigan, you won this half. You're going to play the winner of the division next year.
Yeah.
There's some sort of rotating way about it.
It's just it's either round robin or whatever.
Now, allow me to retort. Some people would say, you want to go out and you want to schedule the best, play the best. You're going to get the best is what you're trying to get.
Yeah, no doubt. But again, we got to dictate that, and we got all those points. So now it's being dictated to us, and we could see those 2 teams again. Again, I'm for it if it continues to grow and move in the direction that we'd like it to move.
Okay.
But there's some things I just didn't understand about it, and I don't understand why, us and Perkins Valley have to play Downingtown East and Downingtown West, and then, we're all 6A.
Correct.
We're all 6A.
Norristown's a 6A. Boyertown's a 6A. Owen J. Roberts, they're all 6A teams.
So, all right, you make this agreement. Like
everybody
it is
plays
what
the
it
6A
is.
teams.
Yeah, like and again, when we do our schedule, like we know the other thing is like we know kind of how our 9th grade team is, how our 8th grade team is, how our underclassmen
like
are,
you're going
and we
forward.
kind of schedule accordingly. So. it's gonna be rough next year, but it's gonna be not rough the next 2 years. But we'll work our way through it. We'll accept it, and hopefully things continue in that same direction.
We love the takes. We want
I always give my opinion. I wish we would have had, and it's just maybe the Coaches Association dropped the ball. It would have been nice to hear all of the coaches' opinions on it prior to the meeting. And maybe the Coaches Association dropped the ball. Maybe I dropped the ball and said, hey, we need to have an emergency meeting here. We didn't do that. It's hard. It's in the middle of the season. Everybody's
You're
busy.
doing I get what you're saying.
But, yeah.
All right, so something to look for next year. We're going to play Chesmont.
Yeah.
Downingtown East and West.
Downingtown East and West.
Are
they good?
I'm going to guess so. I'm going to guess it's also we're going to get a little rotation. You probably get some Coatesville in there out of the 3 too, because they seem to be the 3 powerhouses.
Yeah, but not for 2 years. Not
for 2
until
years.
The third year. We have Downingtown East and West for 2 years. 2 years.
All right, got it.
That's the other thing I would say.
Look at it every year.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah. I'm saying every year we should reassess about who was good, who's not
good. If that's what you're doing, so if we go 0-11 or 0-10 next year,
you're still getting East and West,
right? And if
that's where I'll be like, okay, I can use a little, and once again,
if Norristown flips it and goes 8-2,
and I guess as a coach, what we think we have, and if I think I have a good boys tennis team, I want to schedule the best in District 1. If I think we're rebuilding, I want to get some of that middle of the road teams. So there is a part to that scheduling in there.
I just think it should either be round robin or it should be you get this guy and this guy.
A little bit this guy. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
And it might still not work out.
Who knows?
Someone gets better. I don't know.
All right. So we got to still talk defense for the game here. Once again, I'm sure the defensive staff isn't going to like when they saw at the end of the day the kid ran for 213, 17 yards.
Only 115 until the last 2 runs.
Until runs of the game. Scored all 4 of their touchdowns out there. So, I'm sure we look at North Penn as a running team this week. They're going to see that film and they're going to say, all right, guys, we can go there and we can run the ball down these guys' throats.
And again, offensively, we could have helped that early in the game, and we didn't. So it all works together. But, certainly watching especially the last 2 plays and some of those longer runs, we're right there. And we got to make the play, and we got to make the tackle. And, my impression of it was, we weren't selling out to make the tackle. And if you don't sell out to make the tackle, that's what kind of happens. That's what can happen.
And this sounds a lot like conversations we had after the Manheim Township game. You came back and you talked about not making tackles, not making plays when they're there to be made. And once again, no offense to a Norristown. That's an easier situation, right? Sometimes when the light's on and, do we really want the light? Talk about that aspect of it too.
Well, these are the kids we have and we love them. And it's our job to get them better and figure out what was lacking on those plays but those are, serious situations. We get a stop at any one of those points. We did get a stop earlier. We ran into the kicker. We actually did stop him later, but it flipped the field position. We would have had really good field position. So we made some mistakes in critical areas on defense, and they threw just enough to keep us
you off of that.
Us honest.
I agree. Yeah.
And
a little odd thing, their kicker's pretty
very good.
He punted the ball well. He was able to flip some fields, and they had some success. I know we returned a kickoff for a touchdown, but I thought they also did a good job of getting the ball out of the shadow of their end zone, essentially. They were getting to the 40. They had some good field position off of kickoffs too.
Yeah, well, a couple of them, yeah. And we thought we had that resolved. Again, those are they're basically guys that are all starting now or in the mix or right there. We did a couple times we did all right, actually very well. But then we just had 2 guys. One guy goes down there unblocked and whiffs.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you about that. Starter. The other one, a guy who plays at least half the time, lost his contain. Or we're fine, but it's all 11 guys, and every guy's got to do his job,
especially on kickoff too.
Yeah.
All right, Coach. Let's take a look at the defensive highlights from Springford Pope John Paul.
Defensive highlights are brought to you by Floor and Decor.
So this was a really nice play. Oh, that was a sack. Sorry, I thought I misinterpreted what that play was, but really good job. They try to run bootleg. Giassi comes off the edge and makes the play. Excellent job. Early in the game, this was a great job by Owen Norman, Bryce Roberts, Brady Welsh is there. This is not really any different than some of the plays they ran later on.
They're trying to kick out. Norman six with the fights off the block there. Here's one of your blitzes that heads home here.
Mike Bendowski gets there, as well as who is it? Oh, Nick Garzarella, Bryce Roberts is there as well. I think that was actually the first play of the game. Evan Strzemanski made a nice play there, made a guy miss and made the play. And this
is your interception right before
half. This is the
half.
interception right before the half. And even though we got the interception, we're on the 1 yard line.
And it's 20 seconds.
Yeah, 20 seconds left.
But you keep him out of the end zone here, take away momentum where they could have went 2 for 1 too.
Or
they could score there.
Or kick the field goal.
They kick a field goal, they get a score, and they get the ball. So once again, a big play for you guys there too. So.
Yeah.
All right, Coach. Postseason football.
Postseason football. Best time of the year.
Best time of the year. We're going to take a quick commercial break here, and we're back to preview the game with North Penn.
If you love them enough to relearn math so you can teach them math, then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're correctly buckled in the back seat.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. That's 1 in 5 daughters, sons, neighbors, and classmates who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Yet billions of pounds of good food go to waste every year. It's time we do something about it. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide meals to millions of kids and families in need. Visit feedingamerica.org to help them feed even more. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
Welcome back to the Gridiron, sponsored by Patriot Chevrolet. I'm your host, John Brown, with the head coach, Chad Brubaker. All right, Coach, the District 1, 6A, 5A, they're all out.
Yep.
The 6A bracket's now complete. We'll put it up here on the graphic for people at home, but we're going to play North Penn here Friday night. Opportunity to host 2 games if you can get a win here, and we'll see what happens. But what I also noticed there is that's 12 and 13 are like blue bloods of District 1. They are staples in the district, Coatesville, North Penn, teams that have been around, teams that have been in the finals, teams that have been state. They're right there for you guys in CB South here in the in the way portion of the bracket here.
Yeah, I mean, it should be interesting. I mean, CB South's 9-1. Their only losses to CB West. North Penn lost some games early. I think they're on a 4 or 5 game winning streak right now. Coatesville lost some games late against the Downing Towns. But, those are 2 blue bloods right in our bracket, and they know how to
your little quarter
treat playoff football. And, Owen J. Roberts has Garnet Valley. You can see there's 8-9.
And Perkins Valley is going to get a host.
7-10.
They're going to
and they actually scrimmage Quakertown.
Preseason. So they saw them many moons ago in warmer temperatures there.
We would have been, had we won Friday.
You think you would have went to 2?
No, we would have been at 2.
You would have went to 2.
We would have been at 2. And, it's a missed opportunity. But, we only dropped 2 spots, which really speaks to our non-league schedule. Some of those
how
good that was.
Non-leagues came through at the end of the season. They won some games for you out there. So there's a bracket. Top 16 made the district. I think there's 33 in the total 6A. So
something like that.
Something like that makes the field. So there's the field for the District 1 playoffs. It's going to start Friday night here. You can see Downingtown West on Saturday here. So North Penn, we said blue blood. They're always down. They're always around, that sort of thing. We have played them in districts. I think we went there.
2016.
Yeah, we went to North Penn in 2016. Lost a close one, if I remember correctly.
Well, we got down 21-0 in the first quarter. Came back, scored 19 in the second quarter. We missed an extra point, went for 2, didn't get it. And then came out on fire in the second half, and then kind of just ground to a halt.
Yeah.
They scored 1 touchdown late. It was 28-19, I think, the final score. they had a big-time receiver then, and he caught a ball and ducked. 2 guys ran into each other, and he scored a touchdown. But, obviously people at the beginning of the year were talking about what happened at North Penn, Here they are sitting in as a 12 seed. Like, it's not like
13 seed,
or 13 seed.
yeah.
They didn't. It's not like they snuck in.
Yeah.
So, we're gonna have our work cut out for us. Playoffs, you always do. It's good we're at home.
Yeah, because I think their losses to teams in District 1 are CB West, who's the one, and CB South, who was the I think once again
they lost to Quakertown early in the year.
But once again, they're all
And they're
teams that are ahead of them in the
and
bracket, that sort of thing. So it's not like they're losing to.
They lost to CB South, CB West, Quakertown.
I think they lost to Sal, maybe.
Yeah, at the beginning of the year. Yep.
District 12.
Yep.
So once again, the teams they've lost to are in the bracket. They're battle tested, that sort of thing. So we're going to show some offensive highlights here. But I mentioned earlier, they're going to come out. It's kind of like a little bit of old school football. They're going to run it, and they want to chew up the clock and 3 yards, 4 yards, move the chains. 4 yards. That's what they're trying to do again.
They give you a lot of formations and run like 4 or 5 primary running plays out of those formations, but they do it out of a ton of different things. They try to take shots and play action game. They've had some injuries at quarterback, so that has been an issue for them in some of those losses. But they're very good, and they're like you said, their style is very different than ours. So.
And you can always count on North Penn. They're going to be big up front. They're going to be big on the offensive line, defense. They're going to try once again. It's a game where I'm sure they're saying, "Let's go win the line of scrimmage, guys." Yeah,
absolutely.
All right, let's take a look at North Penn on offense.
Upcoming game highlights are brought to you by Davis Painting.
So just because they run the ball doesn't mean they can't spread you out either.
And there's
Here
some
they
screening
do.
game here to them.
Yeah, they run a screen back and score. This is more their style, although a lot of times they have 2 backs, and that kid should have been swallowed up there pretty early, and guys, they miss tackles, and
this is what happens, right?
Long touchdown run, no one catches him. Again, this is more their style with a fullback, but they can do a lot of play action out of it. Their quarterback can move a little bit too.
Their guy makes a play.
Did a nice job of moving around the pocket. You see, here's a straight drop back, and here he takes off, and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys. Finally, the 7th and 8th guy get him. But this is what they like to do.
Short run here, power football, boom.
Yeah.
And it's good for 6.
They get in the end zone, yeah. So that's what they like to do. They like to run power. They like to use a fullback or an H-back type kid, or both. And they want to run the ball. And
what I just thought as we were watching it, who are the games you said last 3? No particular games in particular you want to see, or you just said give me the last 3?
Last 3.
You're always the last. Because one thing you can ask for anybody. You can ask for anybody, right?
You can.
Most teams you say do the last 3.
They asked for our last 3, so I just said sure.
There's your last 3. So I'm always interested in that exchange of, or you say, hey, this team looks kind of like us. What we like to do.
Games are available on YouTube.
You can find anything. Oh, RCTV does the YouTube machine too.
True. Shh.
Okay, sorry, nobody knows. All right. So what are you going to see? I guess once again, you've talked about here what you think, but then sometimes they come out and they're doing different things. What do you expect to see from North Penn defensively?
So they're even front. They're 4-2-5. They play a lot of cover 2 or quarters coverage. They're almost exclusively one way, very similar to us. There are a couple guys that do play on defense, but for the most part, one side of the ball. They want to pressure you as you get closer to the goal line, and have a couple different pressure packages that they use. So we have to be prepared for all those things, and we'll go from there.
Let's take a look at North Penn on defense.
Upcoming game highlights are brought to you by Davis Painting.
All right, this is against Abington last week, and this was one of their pressure packages. They brought guys off the edge there in a 3rd and short and a red zone issue. They did the same thing here. All right, so they're bringing 6 guys. Here they brought 6 again. The quarterback rolls out. Probably should have threw that ball, but he takes a big sack. And here they are in a 3rd or 2nd and long. They'll sometimes play in a 3-4 and 2nd and 3rd and long. But they are able to get pressure with their front 4 you see there. And then the quarterback throws an ill-advised pass for a...
Almost pick 6.
Almost touchdown.
Yeah, Coach, I'm looking forward to this matchup here. Glad it's at Coach McNally, though, here.
Yeah.
And once again, we get another home game here in districts and
See what we can do.
see what we can do. Well, rally the troops. I think the troops down there rallied, and best of luck to you and the crew Friday night.
Appreciate it.
Make sure you tune in next week as we recap the District 1 game with North Penn. For the head coach, Chad Brubaker, I'm John Brennan. See you next time on the Gridiron.